It's like, I finally get a moment of rest. No, you can't rest right now. There's too much to do. You know what I mean? We're so keyed up all the time that we think we have to be doing all of the time.
Jesus had the most important work, guys, and he still went away to pray. We can do it.
Hi, friends. You guys. How are you? I'm Beth.
I'm Steph. We're talking about when life gets busy.
I think the busyness is very identity driven. I think that it's difficult, particularly for women, to feel like they are wanted and have value if they're not contributing in some way. And so I think pushing back on that, or I should say pulling back, can maybe bring some of that to the surface. Like, am I really loved? Am I really worthy of love if I'm not contributing?
No.
You know?
It's just a trait that women sometimes carry is like, we feel the need, we have to put these things on and take on these things. And I have daughters now, so I think of like, I don't want them to have this mentality growing up of like, you have to do all of these things and you have to be this way. And when someone needs something, you say yes and like you figure everything out. Wow. Like, I just want them to have that childlike dependence on the Lord. I just want them to know that whether you do all of these things or you do nothing, but you abide in him, like, I would rather them have that example from me. So how do I learn that now than having them see me as like always working, always doing this, doing that next thing and the other. I just honestly asked for the courage to say no. So there's just things where I'm like, I can't do it. Like, I really wanted to go to my friend's birthday dinner and I could have squeezed it in. Yeah. Me 2 years ago would have squeezed it in. And like I would have had a busy night every single night. And you know, it's just like, and that's, I think that's what, there's a fear also that like there's going to be some rejection or like people are not going to see you as worthy if you're not doing all of these things. And so I just messaged her and I was like, I would love to celebrate you, but I'm just going to stay home, like, and be with my family. There's just a lot going on right now. And she totally understood, which took away, like, that was just a lie. Like, that lie of, like, she's going to be mad. Like, I'm not going to be considered, like, a close friend. Or if I was supportive, I would find a way to make it. But instead, she understood. And, you know, and that was comforting for me, knowing that, like, you know, when I can, I will. And when I shouldn't, I won't.
I'm sorry. Can we linger here for a moment? Can I get that on a bumper sticker? When I can, I will. When I shouldn't, I won't. Yeah, the thing is, you are too busy, particularly like in our modern age and how connected we are. I think it's very hard to avoid being overscheduled, over busy, and ultimately end up feeling overwhelmed. So the remedy, in addition to like wise discernment and saying no, in addition to those like very practical things that we can put into place, I just want to talk about the necessity of prayer in lives that are so full of even good things.
Prayer is the answer to everything. It's our relationship with the Lord really defines even how we accomplish those tasks. And we feel busy and maybe we get everything off of our checklist, but how are we feeling at the end of the day? Like, do we feel satisfied? Do we feel just exhausted? And do we feel stuck in this routine? And I think that's why prayer is just, it's like a joke, but I'm constantly referring to the home study because it was just so good for me.
Wow.
And so this idea of, well, I don't have time to do 2 holy hours, but I do have time to practice constant mental prayer. And so my relationship with the Lord throughout the day is going to be a prayer from when I wake up till I go to bed, and asking him to really enter into my day with me. Like, I was stuck in traffic for a horrible like hour to my kids' school, and it usually takes me 15 minutes to get there. Wow. And I was literally just thinking of like, Lord, why? I literally asked, why am I not more bothered by this? Like, why am I not more bothered? I turned on some worship music. I was praising. My kids and I, we like prayed a Hail Mary for everyone to make sure that they were safe. It's just like this shift of of your mindset of like, I can use this time right now to be with the Lord and to talk to him about what's going on, to thank him for keeping us safe. But I think just this idea of like, you know, my life, this is what it looks like right now. So how can I be in constant prayer with the Lord?
Yeah, that's very good. Yeah, the home study changed Steph's life.
Truly, really, truly. Anya said, sometimes when I get the chance to lay down, another thing pops up in my head to do. And when nothing pops up, I'm feeling like, what else can I do? Wow. As if laying down is not doing something.
That is so real.
Laying down Anya is doing something.
I want to talk about so many things that you just said. I want to talk about just doing one thing. This is such a struggle for me. It's something the Lord brought up to me years ago. It comes in and out of my consciousness. I am sometimes obedient to it, and one of those big things, I'm going to be very transparent with you. One of those things is driving. I'm always doing other things. I'm listening to a voice memo. I'm leaving a voice memo. I'm checking the directions. I'm getting chapstick out of just right over here, just reaching, okay? I'm always doing multiple things. And sometimes I just sense the Lord chuckle at me, not only in the context of driving. I do this in a lot of other ways. And I just find him laughing at me, and I'm like, what? And he's like, so it's not enough to just be driving. Because you're not doing something right now that you need to also be doing something else. I've also started in the month of August. I've stopped wearing headphones at the gym because
Whoa, that's brave.
Why is that so crazy?
Does it bother you?
It's the most amazing experience.
I wasn't tell you to offer it up for me, but
no.
If you're having the time of your life.
This is what I'm trying to tell you, is that prior to August, I'm living my life with my little preferences and my pattern and my schedule, and I'm fitting things in, and I want the perfect soundtrack. I need to be motivated while I'm, whatever, at the gym. And now I'm just living my life walking on a treadmill. And I'm smiling at people, and I'm just thinking thoughts, and sometimes I read, but I'm just present because I'm not driven to be getting the most out of this thing.
Yeah.
I'm not listening to a podcast. I'm just my nervous system is calming down. Mm-hmm. And I do think, Anya, what you're describing is something I am very familiar with, which is just this heightened nervous system all the time, where it's I finally get a moment of rest. No, you can't rest right now. There's too much to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We're so keyed up all the time that we think we have to be doing all of the time. Mm-hmm. But it's just a habit, that at this point is kind of in our tissues. We have to be moving. We have to be doing. Is it working? There is scientific research that has proven that we cannot multitask. It is a myth. Multitasking is a myth. Multitasking fractures our attention, our energy, and I don't know about you, but as I'm multitasking, not one of those things is getting done. I'm doing a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here, but nothing's getting done. If I'm not doing 3 things at once, I feel like I'm behind the 8 ball. Mm-hmm. Whose voice is that? Whose voice is that?
Wow. Yeah. That's good, Beth.
Renee, you shall know them by their fruits. I'm a huge multitasker. And then it spikes my anxiety. So what is the fruit of multitasking? Anxiety.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He really can make all things new. So even if you're this is just the way I've been my whole life. Well, he can make it new. He can make your habits new. I just love that you said that. Whose voice is that? Who's telling you that you need to overperform?
Yeah.
It's not to say to not do things or not take things on your plate when you feel like the Lord is opening doors for you. But what does that balance look like? Someone mentioned boundaries earlier. It's so important to know your boundaries. And I think that's just having a conversation with the Lord. This is everything, Lord. Where do we trim? What do we give more attention to right now? Because we do have gifts and talents, and he does call us to use them. I think it just is part of the discernment and how he's calling us to do that. Jesus tells us over and over again, only he's going to truly satisfy us. Only he will truly satisfy us. And so I pray that you're able to, just take that first step and ask him, what do I need to detach from? How can you satisfy me today, Lord?
We have a desire for more, but there's no room for more. There's no room for it. So some things have to go, because the more is Jesus, and he'll pour out as much as we have room for.
Jesus had the most important work, guys, and he still went away to pray. We can do it. Just gotta ask him for help. Yeah. That's it.
That's the thing rising to the surface is let's take a look at our prayer, Amen. All right. God bless you, friends. Love you. See ya.
Bye.